Hello everyone, it's Farket here. In this video, I'm going to go over version 0.66 with more of a visual guide. I have done a narrated version. I'll attach a link in the video and in the description, which will cover all the patch notes. This video doesn't cover all of the patch notes, but mainly the highlights. And I thought I'd give a visual video a go with doing patch guides. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, one of the best things I've added is the turtle shell can now be used as a ski or a toboggan. It is a lot of fun. I highly recommend you check this out. It is heaps of fun and it will have so many uses. Now, how you do it is you select the turtle shell and you jump in the air and then aim at the ground and use your left click. Now, it is best used in the snow, though it still does work on grass and other areas, just not as effectively. Snow picks up speed about 50% faster from what I've seen, though it would require more testing. Now currently, you can use this to get to the bottom of the sinkhole, and you don't take any damage. I don't know if this was an oversight by the developers, but I would imagine they would fix it very shortly. The player does make a lot of grunts and noises, but there's no issues. And yes, be careful where you land. I landed right next to an armsy at the bottom of the pit. That wasn't fun. But yeah, as you can see, I took damage from the armsy, but not from sliding down the pit. It's an easy way to get the machete, that's for sure. But getting back out, that would be the problem. You can use it to get to the bottom of a cliff, and it won't damage you. Depending on the height of the land that you're on, will determine whether it will work or not. Sometimes it will work, but pretty much once you come to a standstill, you're going to stop. No, I didn't really die then. I just put that in there for effect. It feels like you would die if you smacked into a rock. I was using mods and I increased the speed, and you can have a lot of fun with it. Just run along the land and then perform the maneuver. Now, with my scaffolding idea that I released a video on, I think this has a lot of potential to mix with that. You can create your own ramps and such. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. Moving on to the next change is the zipline and logs. You can now attach logs to slide down the zipline. This is incredible. I cannot even fathom how excited I am about this. I think it is going to be amazing. I think this one has a lot of potential. I'm going to probably get a few videos out of this one. I've got quite a few ideas already coming to me. Because yeah, this is so cool. Now, you can't attach the logs to the bottom of the zipline, but I guess that makes sense. You can't put the logs on them too quickly. What ends up happening is that they collide and fall off. So you have to have some patience. If they collide, then they're going to fall off. And if you're on the edge of a cliff, you might lose your logs. Just keep that in mind. Now, the next change is mushrooms. There's been quite a few changes to them. You can now collect them using the berry pouch. I think this is really cool. It adds a lot of new mushrooms to your inventory. 2 of the mushrooms, the poison ones, can be used to make poison arrows. I hope I can pronounce these right. A man-eater mushroom. Just add 1 and 5 arrows. As well as the jack mushroom. You just add 1 and a set of 5 arrows and it'll create poison arrows. You can still use twin berries. Twin berries use 4. I'll try and pronounce them. Chanterelle mushrooms. Amanita mushrooms. Jack mushrooms. Liberty cap mushrooms. Puff mushrooms. And deer mushrooms. You can now even grow mushrooms inside caves. Once you get a garden in there. I don't know if this is viable. I'm not sure. I didn't even actually check if you can grow mushrooms out on the land. Yes, it just places the mushrooms in that you've already collected. One change I'm really happy about is now when you pick up an item, such as a rock, it will switch back to your previous item. Now, I usually use the upgraded stick to open up suitcases, or the weak spear. When you used to do it, you'd pick up a tennis ball or a small rock, and you'd throw it, but you wouldn't select your previous weapon. It was really frustrating. The next update is with crocodiles and sharks. When you get killed by them, we'll turn around and face towards the crocodile or shark. Doesn't seem like much of a change, but I guess if you're new and you didn't know what was there, it might seem a bit random why you would die. Guess it's a nice visual change. This one is mainly visual. There's been a lot of changes to the HUD. As you can see, I've just started here, and all the items you pick up, the way it appears down the bottom left is really different. Also with cancelling structures, it strikes out the line when you cancel out the item. It's a cool little effect, because sometimes you can forget. Another change is the circle HUD down the bottom right. It's received quite a few changes. I'm not sure if they are any better or not. It doesn't look much different. Your stomach is a lot wider. The water meter isn't actually rendered right. At the bottom of it, it's white. I'm not sure if they actually finished it properly. Your stomach's actually wider in the new one, and your water meter is actually thinner. I like what they've done with the armor bar and the energy bar. It is actually quite a lot more visible, so that's good. As for the colors, that would just be color grading mostly. Though the new water meter is a different color. It's more of a teal rather than a blue. Also with the new one, the armor does fill up properly. As you can see, it goes up from start to finish on the half circle, whereas on the other one, it starts a little bit in, doesn't finish at the top. Another big visual change is the survival guide. It's received a fairly big revamp. I actually like this one because the buttons are actually more clearer. Beforehand, they were a little bit funny. Like you wouldn't know if you're actually selecting the button or not. All the symbols have been moved from the bottom to the left side of the pages, and they've removed a lot of the writing that they used to have on it. They used to have writing like on the basic fire saying that a basic fire to keep you warm and that. I don't believe the pictures have changed, though the backing on the pages has changed. It's no longer colored. They seem to be all the same color, except for obviously the effigies. They're still got the blood and the like sticky tape sort of stuff over it. But yes, the stats page received a very big revamp. I think it looks a lot more cleaner, looks a lot better, I think, and a bit more coordinated. Like your stats are in the one spot, they used to be scattered. And they've got meters to measure it along with the percentages. The crafting section at the end hasn't actually received a revamp. Though I will admit that the survival guide change is a little bit annoying because I just updated all the building section on the wiki. So I'm going to have to go back and do it all. It won't take me long. This time will be easier because I've done it once before. And the pages are all the same color, so it will look a lot better. A new change is with the pot. You now hold the pot with two hands and you scoop out water from ponds and lakes and such. And it's funny, when you try to light the fire with the pot in your hand, it maintains level while he's got one hand lighting it. In the patch notes, it stated that the animation for boiling water had been fixed or changed, but from what I've seen, it hasn't received really anything. I tested on both the small fire and the fire pit. The fire pit's a stone one, and animations just looked average or even bad. The fire was actually coming through the water in the pot. I don't know. I'm too much of a critic, I think. The next change is amazing. I can't stress how good this one is. Rock paths can now be cleared with the hole cutter. This is awesome. Because beforehand, even with mods, you could not remove the fucking things. And it was so annoying. What I did notice was once the rock paths were cleared, the grass was cleared. So it was like a lawnmower went over it. Though I thought I would check if you save and exit what would happen after you've cleared the rock path. Once you reload, the grass is regrown. So it's not a permanent way to get rid of grass, unfortunately. Though if you leave the rock path there, it is. Now, one change I really like, and this is going to be great for video editing, it's really going to make my job easier, is that they've added mouse smoothing. So it feels a little bit more smooth. The game feels a little bit more realistic, not as jittery. If anything, it makes the graphics actually look a bit better. The game automatically toggles your game to 10%, I believe, though you can change it. I think my sweet spot is 50%. I think that's a good amount. If you add it up to 100, it actually causes a fairly big delay in your mouse movement. Turtles can now be killed if they walk into a fire. They fixed an issue with turtles getting blocked by walls. Now they go under them, I believe. I only tested this with a rock wall. I didn't test it with any other walls. I doubt they'll go over. They fixed bonfires and enemy ragdolls. I noticed this before. Now it appears that it feels like they get stapled almost, or glued to the bonfire when you put them on there. They don't move around as much. I guess that's how they Thought it was the best way to fix it. Now the chainsaw, when you use it while running, it turns down your movement speed to walking speed. This is a weird one. You can no longer pick up small rocks or tennis balls while sitting down. I don't know why they did this one. I'm sure there are much more important things that they could fix. Really do. I think everyone could agree on that. But anyway. One they fixed, and what they always say they're fixing, is the way deer and that respond to the player. Now they are a little bit smarter, though I still caught them bugging a couple of times. Though what I found, it is better. You can't get anywhere near as close. It's like a 50% more scare rate, I would say. Or 50% more scare distance, if that's a better word. Apparently they rendered the thatch on the cannibal huts and made it a little bit better. I couldn't really notice any difference. I don't know, doesn't look any different to me. Then again, I don't pay attention to such detail. They fixed players being able to jump while crouched. Didn't really notice this, but apparently they fixed it. They've also added a bloody variant of the table inside cannibal villages. Now this one I'm only going to cover shortly because I'm going to test this one and put a video on it. And that is flintlock pistols, bows and thrown spears now cause head damage. I was struggling to test this one, so I'm going to be doing a whole video on it. I'm going to match it against my damage video to figure out how much extra damage it actually does. I do believe this is a very good feature because the bow, thrown spears and the flintlock pistol aren't covered under strength. So if you got 99 strength, it will do the same damage regardless. So melee weapons would start outclassing the ranged weapons end game. But hopefully this fixes it. Gives it a bit more balance, I would say. Anyway, in the description I've got a video I've already uploaded today, which narrates all the patch notes. But I covered about half of them here. But yes, I've got a lot of testing to do with this. I have a lot of new ideas that have spawned from this patch, so I better get working. And if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers.